There are people listening from every corner of this planet. No knowledge has been dispersed so beautifully, so balanced across the planet, on this planet ever. Maybe in the universe. You have the full potential of achieving everything in the universe. There is no need and there is no reason for man not to achieve. So, wherever you are, the way I taught you to make the coils double coil inside, you have continuous equal gravitational magnetic field, and if you put CO2 on it, and you put zinc on it, you have connected the emotion of the man to it on a stable condition, and you'll find out you become a very peaceful man. Here, instead of having galaxies and universes and creating connection magnetically, we have used the matter state gravitational magnetic field strength to dominate and dictate the shape of the plasma. The nanotechnology, the nanomaterial which you have collectively developed in different ways, by caustic, by electric currents, by whatever, fire or whatever, has that advantage that the matter, the nano, and the plasma is all the same. So connection is very solid. It's very strong. The power of the plasma technology, the way we have thought, is beyond imagination of the man. Now you can create and control the plasma, which is the mother of the creation of the universe. You are given the seed of the essence of the creation. The foundation does not belong to no one and is not made of one anymore. You are developing it. You are structuring it. And from today, we will be still the same. We'll still develop the technology in different names, in different colors, in different nationalities which they do not exist. It is beautiful when we see the Christian, the Muslims, the Jews, and every other belief are working together to build up systems. We have already become one faith. We already have become one nation, and we already become one planet. You got to remember one thing. Dates is irrelevant. Today is the last day of the Christian calendar, or tomorrow is the beginning of another. One day is connected to another. We don't stop. We are working around the clock. The Keshe Foundation team is working irrespective of time, position, religion, country. And now we achieve what we set out for.
Welcome everyone to the 17th International Knowledge Seekers Workshop with the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And once again today we're honored to have with us Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation to carry on with the teaching for today on the international front. And I think he's available there. Are you ready to go, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, as usual. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you, wherever you are, whenever you listen to these programs. Today, as no more is the international teaching, we ask you if you have anything to offer from international, some parts of the Keshe Foundation from anywhere. You might have something to show or demonstrate, or if you have anything to show, Rick.
I don't have anything in particular. I can show a picture though that might be interesting for folks. We can show Abby's roses. Let me just get that shared up here, and get my live stream adjusted. These are Abby's roses, and she states if you saw my lawn and rose bushes, the bushes are 6 feet tall, twice as tall as normal, and the flowers bloom months before the neighbor's roses. This is Portland, Oregon, is a rose city. The lawn grew like a jungle. I could not mow it with the rotary mower this month, but last month I mowed it in 20 minutes. This month it took me a week. I ended up cutting it with a sharpened Japanese scythe, a very sharp knife. She's using the Ganswater to, I believe, to grow her grass, but she says I did nothing to the roses other than hook up 5 plasma devices, 3 stackers and 2 cubes. I built 4 of them myself. This is Abby who talks about this. So I thought you might find that interesting on in that regard. And I'm wondering who else has something to offer in the Mr. Keshe here today for the international aspect. We have viewers. If you're a viewer and you have something to present, you can put up your hand, as it's called, and then I can see you and promote you to a panelist, and that way you can speak or show something. I wonder if, let me see, maybe Jackie would like to announce when his next session is with the French sector, French teaching. See, we have Clint here as well. Maybe he has something that he'd like to show.
Rick, if we have Francois both and Jackie, both of them, maybe they could speak a little bit about, because they both started the French teachings. And I would like to hear how does it happen in both time zones? Who's doing when and so on.
Yes, perhaps. Thank you. This is Jackie. We start it's not Jackie or Francois, it's the Keshe Foundation. We start the teaching for the French speaking. And we manage with Stanley all the setups for giving the teaching for the French community. And for the moment, we have established the public teaching channel. So for the people living in Europe, the time is Thursday at 7, all Thursday at 7 o'clock in the evening. And the Canadian people, French Canadian, have another meeting program. I don't know exactly the time and the date. And we manage to make available some teaching for the private teaching, because there is a lot of new students from the French speaking part that become a part of the KFSSI official teaching. and we will have some teaching especially for the French speaking part. So this is the news, and yeah, the French community have some nice knowledge seekers, and we have some really good news regarding the evolution of the technology, regarding the different aspects on the health section, the agriculture section, the energy system, and a lot of ideas, and yeah, it's nice, it's going well. And I want to thank a lot Stanley for all the work he's doing, for giving a nice platform for a maximum of people can reach the teaching. And we doesn't want to create some separation, but we will manage to have both all the students, and they can reach whatever language they want to listen, and it's beautiful to be part of this creation. It's a lot of work into the background, and a lot of people are doing an hard work to make this possible, and to give the maximum opportunity to all people in this planet to understand the teaching. And I want to thank everybody for that.
Well, thank you, Jackie. And I don't see Francois here right now. Let me see, check the other list. But Francois Fleabot, he's the representative for the Keshe Foundation Canada French side. And he's sort of working on another aspect of the development of the French sector from this end. So it's interesting to see the relationship now with international French versus the Canadian French, and trying to bring those aspects together and so on. It's an interesting dance, you might say.
I think that Francois will soon share the recordings that he made in the past of his teachings. I'm waiting for this, that we can publish them on our education site, what is private teaching, and on our YouTube channel of Spaceship Institute, Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, so that the people can get access, those that were not participating at the time, and maybe they can find out something interesting from those teachings.
Right. The way I understand it is Francois has a new presentation, a new PowerPoint presentation every couple of weeks, basically, and he gives a public or semi-public presentation with people that are invited and so on, and yeah, maybe that'll become available and translated into languages and so on.
And at this point, Rick, I would like to encourage all other people in other languages, language-speaking communities, whatever they recorded in the past, Hungarian, Romanian, and any other language, if they can send the email to the educationspaceshipisinstitute.org, that we get these recordings and we can publish them as well, and then we can bring them under the umbrella of Keshe Foundation and actually offer them the same platform, so that we can enlarge our education community and actually give all other people that maybe do not know at the moment what recordings exist, we can give them those, that they can learn from them. And of course that they can join also our English-speaking teachings, those who can understand, and the others, I hope for them that we can create the subtitles as soon as possible, translate it into their language. They can still watch our recordings made in English, but they can read the subtitles in their language, and by this they can spread the knowledge much faster. That's all what I would like to add at this point.
Can I just share my screen 1 second so the people can see what is available in French? Thank you.
Sure, yes.
So here, this is the announcement. So it's every Thursday at 7 o'clock. It's the Keshe Foundation for the education part. In Facebook, they have all the data Then on the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute YouTube channel list, you will find all the different subjects, the international knowledge seeker, Italian, and here you have the public teaching in French. So you have all the already registered public teaching, and the internet site in French for two parts, for the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute and the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Space Program is already translated. We just need to finish the design, but it's already translated, so we are in good way to advance. And just to show you perhaps one thing, it's what we are doing with the translation. We are making the subtitles, and for example, the community can take the language. This is the last video for the One Planet, One Race, One Nation, for example. And when the people play the video, they have the subtitle. And for example, for the, if I take another video, is already done. So they can have the subtitle in English, in French, and other language in Polish and different. For the kids workshop, we have some nice video in English, French, German. We need to just finish the work. Polish is already done. Spanish, not finished. Turkish, it's done. And then we will have all this subtitle, and then we can upload on the official video on the YouTube channel from the Spaceship Institute. And so the last workshop will be available with the subtitles. It's a lot of work, and if somebody wants to help on this cycle, it will be really nice, because we need some backup on this. So that's all for the moment.
Of course, we would need the same to be done also on the for the private teaching recordings, where we have a little problem that we need that we can actually allow collaboration only to the students, right? Because we can't share the private teaching recordings with the public. That means we have less people to work on that. But as soon as we get this done, the students that are joining now, and for example, they don't understand English well, they can still watch these private teachings and read the subtitles in their language, and by that they can spread the knowledge much faster. So we are working on the platform where all this would be possible to allow students to actually work on that. So as soon as this will be ready, we will announce that, and we hope that a lot of you will be willing to spend your time to actually work on translation. So we have a lot of recordings that we need the subtitles to create for, and when we have this done, I believe it will be a big boost for a lot of students. Thank you.
I think if Paul Renner is on, they have already completed the German and Spanish. Am I correct? Or can he explain to us what's happening there?
You mean the websites?
The KFSSI.
Yes, I got the German translation and Spanish of KFSSI. I need to publish it.
Okay. Does Paul Renner want to explain anything? Is Paul Renner there?
Yes,
Hello?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear you. Can you explain more about what you've done in the German section, please? Because you've done a lot of work with a number of people in the background.
We have all the documents in translated to German, all the websites, and also to Spain. And I talked with Vince yesterday. So as soon as possible, we will have webmasters for Spanish and German, and the websites german.kffoundation.org, german.kfsi.org will exist. Also Spanish. So as soon as possible, we will also start with a full-time German teaching, as the same times that we have at the moment for the English speaking, because the German community is very, very big, nearly big as the English speaking community. But a lot of Germans are not able to follow the teachings in English, so we offered them German teaching.
So the German teaching which you are planning will be with the German teachers and on a 5 days basis.
Right.
What's been asked from the webmaster to do, if it can be done, is that once you become a student in one section, you get access to all the other teachings, which means other languages. So if there is an interesting discussion or topic in another language which you want to listen or get translated, you can go across from one teaching language to another. This will be the same with Chinese. The Chinese teaching will be added to the Keshe Foundation teaching that all the Chinese around the world can join in. It'll be done in the next few weeks. And so we see now the emergence of the different nationalities, what they call different national languages becoming mother language. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can join in and add to the knowledge, that the knowledge does not become language based as being now. Thank you very much for all your help and support in every direction.
Just something else, we also translate every manual, every document which was ever brought out by knowledge leakers or by the Keshe Foundation itself. So when we start with the German, the Spanish website, there will be directly a lot of content. Also, we made translations to nearly every video, every knowledge seeker workshop, and we will hard working on to translate or subtitle all the private teachings you gave last year, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed. It's got to be said that there is a lot of work goes on in the background with the Germans, especially with you and Ingrid, and I thank both of you. And the Keshe, what do you call it, all the 3 books now are fully translated in German. And in the next few weeks, I'll have to get a chance to correct the last wording to be as German's practically correct with everything. And we will publish these books only order to print, which means there will not be online books that could be abused the way it was done before by people who put it deliberately to damage the foundation. It was the most beautiful thing ever done for the foundation, the way it was done, because a lot of people read it books, and in a way we knew how they came to understand the work of the foundation. In the coming weeks, we'll release 3 books in Chinese, 3 books in German. The Italian books are nearly completed on all 3. The 3rd one should be done soon. I've seen number 2 completed. We have in the Spanish and another 12 languages, the books will be released this year. But it will be hard copy based. We will try to do all the publication and printing in China. This is one of the things we'll do in China. That all the books you order will be per order print, dispatched from China to across the world. We do not have or see facilities here to be able to do such a thing. And so all the books will be ISBN numbered and be transferred within the next, hopefully, 3 to 6 months. And you can buy books in different languages. We've been told by the end of the year we'll have another 12 languages There's a group which is working on this. They've taken the job up across the world, and so hopefully we'll see at least something like 15 to 20 languages books translated into. Is there anything else? I have to make an announcement. Hopefully from tomorrow, so from 1st of June, Wednesday, you Italian people with the Italian address, you can go to Italian bank. We will release the name today in Italian press. Hopefully it should be released by now. You can go to Italian bank and give a code number. We will release this code within the next few hours. It's just we are waiting for a lot of things to be sorted out with the banking system. We try to give you 10-year at €10 per month, which would have made it about 1,200. But through the conditions which has been brought in by the bank, we renegotiated the process with the bank in a very different way. Instead of giving that you have to buy other units to build up to 1,200, we have renegotiated with the bank. So the negotiation is very simple. We have reduced it from 10 years to 3 years. This is what, because of the law in Italy, has brought us to be able to do it this way. And you pay something like €25 per month for this for 3 years. You sign a contract at the bank, and the bank will allow you to submit the form, and then in submitting the form, they send us the confirmation that you have applied. We respond back to the bank, we accept the application, and automatically the unit will be developed and sent to you. So from tomorrow, Italian banks you can walk into and submit the application form on the name and the code number, which we released in Italian press today. And we start with one part of Italy to set everything up accordingly. And then we extend the offer right across Italy. If you're a Cash Foundation follower, you can go on the Cash Foundation. The name of the bank is Banca Intesa San Paolo. Banca Intesa San Paolo is the #1 bank in Italy with 6,000 branches. You can go to any of the branches. We'll give you a code number. The convention number is Aquasol Cash Foundation. So if you go to Banca Intesa San Paolo by tomorrow or Thursday, the bank officers will release the code number in the internet. Will give you can quote the number, fill in the form, and you pay in the bank the documents. You give it to them, and then they approve it, and they inform us of the approval, and we send the units to you. By Thursday, we announced Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank was the second banking system which has approved the transaction. So now we're going into operation with 2 major banks internationally. Bank #1 in Italy, Banca Intesa San Paolo, and Deutsche Bank. By next week or the week after, we allow the Deutsche Bank application. Hopefully, if it's approved totally with things we have to do from our side, would allow the German and the Spanish and the French to use the same system banking in their countries, where you pay a small amount and you receive your units, and over 3 years you pay. It depends how the legal situation sits. Originally, the amount was set at 1,200. You could pay it 10 installments, but the way we see it, then we have to put pads and pens and other things into it to build it up. We have renegotiated the situation to the actual cost of the Maghreb system, which is 500, plus the taxes, which brings it to 600. And then the interest for 3 years, which is added by the bank, is something like 20, 25 euro, which they tell you per month for 3 years. So from more or less tomorrow or by Thursday, we release the code. You have to have this code to be able to trigger the banking system. With Deutsche Bank, you go on the Cash Foundation website. You go on the Cash Foundation Italy website, you fill in the form, and online, it comes to us. We check the application form within the Cash Foundation. We send it to the Deutsche Bank headquarters on the agreed system we have set up with them. They approve you, it comes back to us, we send you the acceptance has been accepted. You have to fill the back end of the form and you receive your unit. We have keyed up for the Italian nation up to 100,000 per month production in July, August. So the bank in 600 branches of the Banca Intesa San Paolo, you will see stands with salespeople from the bank in the branch. As you walk in, you will see them, they greet you to introduce and in a way, give you the application forms from the bank. So the bank puts their own sales team, they have tested, they have approval, so we approve the sales for the technology. So in 600 branches of the bank, you see stands with the salespeople from the bank, not from the Cash Foundation in the banking. So you can directly approach and place the order. At the same time, in Northern Italy, in the next 2 months, billboards will appear across Northern Italy with the Cash Foundation Maghreb units and other products. So we have come to commercialize the technology in a massive way. Cash Foundation, there's a possibility we announce by next week that we become the financiers for the technology in the next 2 months. What it means, we do not need a banking system. We have established a reserve that we can become the supplier of the systems to you and you buy it from the foundation. This is, we know, within the next week, 10 days. So as we promised, from tomorrow, 1st of June, you can go to the bank, or by Thursday, you can go on Cash Foundation Italy, fill in the form, and then within 7 days maximum, you get approval within 48 hours. And in the first phase, we will meet all the deliveries as they come through within 36 days, as we promised, 90 days delivery. There's a big proviso in all this. On the back of this, we will submit the offer of the sale of the technology on a factory basis, which means we will offer full delivery of factory structure to any locations, which means we will, in the next 3 months or so, have, in a way, what is planned, container units with a full factory structure inside. You can just open and build up the factory on site. Everything needed to set up a factory will come in 1 or 2 containers. We will announce the price of this. This is targeted for governments and organization on the industrial estate, on the industrial scale of the work. We will finance these factory setups through the same structure, which means this is the capability we are looking and we are working on. And in African nations, we deliver 2 containers. The factory from the scratch to the top with everything to produce will be in the container. Estimated price, we will announce it. So if you are an American manufacturer, or you're a Dutch manufacturer, or you're anywhere else in the world and you want to start a setup for production of the GANs, for the production of Maghreb systems, we sell a container block. and will produce it. We supply the material, we supply all the backup. Our target is to bring the technology on the reach of every nation in respect of the position. In the next month maximum, Keshe Foundation manufacturing Ghana will go into full production. In Japan, we will go into full production for gas materials in the coming days. We will announce. We already have started the production. We'll go into the mass production in a different way. In Italy, we will supply a diversion and diversity of the systems, which means gardening, household goods, medical application, and the rest. We are negotiating at international level to be able to deliver technologies on a space level to most of the nations simultaneously. This means we offer the same package to the Africans, to the Asians, to the Europeans and Americans of our South American continent, that they all move through the same container business into the space technology in one go. The technology is available and will be delivered. So as we said, we took our time, we ran tests, we did everything. When I say we, it's us as Keshe Foundation supporters and groups around the world. You stood by us to deliver the Maglev units. We had a problem, we told you, you said you wait. And more or less, all the Maglev units are completely delivered. We should not be behind in any order, hopefully by this Wednesday, Thursday. So we have fulfilled the promises of delivering Maglev units. We have delivered into universities, we have delivered in government offices, we have delivered in every institute which they're asked to test. That's how free and confident we are with the technology. We, as Keshe Foundation supporters around the world, have built the first basis for world peace, inequality share of energy, food, agriculture, space, and every other application. We have become, as Keshe Foundations around the world, a powerful organization to be recognized. In a way, our peaceful application of technology and enforcing peace has brought governments on the table of discussion. Today I'm traveling, that's why you don't see me on the teaching. I'm speaking through mobile condition because we have been asked to attend a high-level governmental international meeting to be present, and it's important for the foundation. We were asked to be in this meeting and we attend the meeting. It was given a short notice, we accepted it. In the coming week, we attend a number of these meetings with the world leaders, groups, and governments. Keshe Foundation has turned the table by us being correct and being in position. Please understand, we all make mistakes, and mistakes are to be corrected. We have made a lot of mistakes in appointing wrong people to handle the Keshe Foundation production. We appointed wrong people to handle the sales. We appointed wrong people to do things, but we trusted, and the trust was abused. And now everything more or less is in the hand of the foundation itself. We make mistakes, we have a delay, we speak about it, we put it on the table. Now we have made some mistakes and we have overcome them. Now, with what we learned and you supported us, we're going internationally in a very big way. In the next 6 months, there should not be a nation where a factory container is not there. That is there for delivery. We can produce. Most of the copper, now we have come to an agreement with the Iranian suppliers that will be supplied copper directly from the factory at a cost which cannot be met in the international market by no one. We are negotiating for development of the containers, in a way, the boxes for containing. Everything is getting done on a central basis by the Keshe Foundations around the world, and we bring in the forces around to do it. It's taken over 6 months to come agreement with 2 major banks. Everything has been done to be correct, proven to be correct. So from now on, we move and we scale up technology delivery worldwide. We go into the direction of the application of technology for medicine and for any other application. I've received communications that major forces have become aware and they see us as danger in my usual speech and usual talk. The power organizations you are, we are friends and we can work as a team. We have received your message. We are listening, but the process of technology has to be for the benefit of humanity. We've been approached by church organizations to bring the Keshe Foundation into operation of the church to help the followers of the church. We have no objection. We collaborate because already the links through churches, mosques, synagogues, and other places of worship has been made between the man and the society and the way they believe. So we use these channels to deliver the technology rapidly worldwide. We will announce collaboration with Keshe Foundation with 2 major churches in the coming week. In coming weeks, you will understand how far the Keshe Foundation, we did not approach. We've been asked to be able, our technology to be used. The same will go with the Islamic nations and with the Jewish and the others. We work closely with the Chinese government for delivery of technology across East Asia. Now that we have appointed a leader for the Chinese Keshe Foundation, Professor Xu, and was appointed and agreed by the Chinese government, and we accepted the offer and appointment. Now we go in a massive structure in China. Keshe Foundation is an international organization, and we will carry on with the same process, delivering technology unconditionally. We give you a platform. One of the reasons we don't see many people developing new technologies or new ways of doing things is because we shifted from coils into the field, into plasmatic, into the liquid plasma, and now into the field. It'll take 3 or 4 weeks or 6 weeks as usual for people to build these systems that they can show. But those of you who build the medical system, the maggraph systems, and the others, there is nothing wrong. We're still looking for new developments. You can bring it on. We can look, we can understand. We see people offering in new dimensions in understanding of technology, the way it's delivered, and the way they understood and they interpreted it. You have a free platform to bring your knowledge. We have and we will carry on with the open door policy. It's you who will fail yourself, not the foundation. We don't tell who's right, who's wrong. There are those who came, we gave a platform in these teachings on Tuesdays or Thursdays, and then they misunderstood the understanding of the correctness of the technology, freedom to information. And they suddenly came to become gods and the creators and everything else. We gave a chance to everyone the same. The only thing we don't accept is a foul language and all the thing which goes with it. That's why they were not here. We warn once and we block. Anybody who works around Keshe Foundation has to accept the ethos of the Keshe Foundation. What we see is addition of coil, piling of coil, and then creating a new condition. The whole thing starts from the coil. What I developed, what I delivered, what is going is just multiplication and manipulation of the coil system. Nothing more. How and what it delivers in one shape or what form and how many is respective. You have to understand, if you have no respect for the society and the people who work and work around you, you have no respect for yourself. So if we see new technology, we support. If we see new ideas, we support. It's you who's got to be able to have what I call competence and the capability and capacity to be accepted, to accept you can be part of a bigger structure. Those are who very humble people like Alex, people like Benjamin, people like Aaron, people like Jackie or Ali and the others in Chinese community who be with us. This is how we should conduct. We share unconditionally, we bring everything on the table. Those who after being given the platform, they lost their way and they thought they have everything, the Keshe Foundation covers every aspect of the knowledge of the man. From birth to death, from energy to space to food and everything else. If winding up a couple of coils makes you everything you think you are, you have no capacity to be part of the structure because later on you'll fail again, as you fail now. In that process, we start teaching heavily on the space technology. In the coming months, the way we offer the modules, we go back in offering what we offered at the space, what we call excursions. We will complete this process while we are in China. This is a gift to the Chinese government for their peaceful activities and the ethos of what we call their leadership. The first flights will take out of China. This is a surety we give to the Chinese leadership. So the next stop, as we said, we start financing the other things around the foundation is what we call the space trips, which we have promised a long time. Now we are in a position to be able to deliver. Keshe Foundation supporters and the agents will be offering the way we offered the banking system for energy in Italy and Germany, France, Spain. We'll be offering the same thing on the excursion basis very soon. I will announce this once we reach China. Are there any things we can add to this before we go on teaching?
Yes, I wanted to show the presentation that, let me just share the screen here, of Dr. Rodrigo Vildosola. And he did a presentation apparently last Saturday in, let me get the details here. I think it was in Yemi in Washington. And apparently it was an outstanding success. And his presentation was, it's called a seminar on the Keshe plasma technology at the Triad Theater. Apparently it's sold out and it was standing room only. Let me get rid of this here. And let me see, there was a couple of comments. Heather Bryant says, such a beautiful presentation and representation of the heart, spirit, and soul of this technology. Well done, Dr. R. and Myciel Ledwith. Feels like some possible workshops coming up and so on. Like,
is it possible if you can ask Dr. Rodriguez if it's online, if a recording was made of this presentation that we could put on the website?
Exactly.
Okay, let's.
Is Dr. Rodriguez online?
Yeah. If you are and you're in the viewers, you can put your hand up so I can recognize you.
If not, I can ask him later through the email if he has the recording. I got the message.
He has the recording.
No, I can ask him because I'm exchanging emails with him. I will ask him, yeah.
Yeah, but he's in the teaching tomorrow, in the medical teaching.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, you can ask him tomorrow, no problem. One of the things which we have, as I explained in the teaching of this morning, in the private teaching, we have a start interaction and work with different scientific organizations. And this is how our supporters around the world should do. Interact with the scientists at the level that they can understand and they can disperse the knowledge across with their knowledge. They can interact with and they can add to. We had a meeting last Friday with leading nuclear physicists and 6-7 top scientists of Italian nuclear industry. And it's amazing how they invited us to this meeting, and it's strange that immediately in the meeting they wanted to organize a second meeting, that the foundation work can be brought into the nuclear structure of the country, that they can add more scientists into it. Because in the meeting we explained the simplicity of how we do approach what they try to do in such an expensive way, and the results we get. The strange one thing was that in the meeting they wanted the GANs. They could not believe it can be done. I had to give whatever I had with me, samples in the tubes to them that they could test, they could develop and test further. And at the same time, they wanted to know how to solve the problems they have in their testing. This is good because I learned from them as much as they learned from us. We have to start interaction with universities. Keshe Foundation has started direct work in Italy with universities through the instruction of the governmental and local authorities. They want us to be in now that they can add to and bring knowledge and technology in the university level. This is how you got to approach it. Scientists and people who use the technology, Dr. Rodriguez and other doctors, other physicists who come on understanding of the technology, is for them to organize the functions and bring more people to understand it. We do our work, we change. You got to understand what is known as Illuminati is known as Rothschilds. They have spent millions to keep Keshe Foundation away from main media because they control most of the media, like Fox. They have seen us as a threat into the income they established for themselves for decades. I'll send a message even yesterday, a couple of days ago, we had one of the Keshe Foundation guys saying that they see us as a threat, the Illuminatis. Doesn't matter who you are. We are the generation, we are the people who will share knowledge freely. If you have such an influence in media, if you have such an influence that you have kept us away, you have allowed us to grow amongst people. Our support runs into tens of millions. You got to realize one thing. This goes directly to both groups and the others who try to keep a wrap around the Keshe Foundation. We don't want to become an organization that when we come up, you lose your position and credibility. Bringing the Keshe Foundation open is to your benefit, and it's the benefit of the organizations you have set up to create wealth for yourselves. Because this way, when the technology comes the way it is, you have workers who work for you on the surface, lip surface. Underneath, use the Keshe Foundation technology in their home, for their children, for their food, and everything else. This is where the change is coming. They want the Keshe Foundation name not to be there, but they're prepared to work with the technology. The Keshe Foundation will be there, and the technology will be there. And wrapping it on the carpet, in a way, threatening news media not to publish anything about the Keshe Foundation, has given us a very good chance to build an underneath layer of society which are using it, and there will be more to use. We came to Italy on the back of the support of the Italians. On the back of the support of Italians, we opened the first factory here. Now we're going national distribution. Now, the rest of the Europe from next week is now going to see Germans, what you call French, Dutch, and what you call the rest of the European community, to see only Italian being benefited by half price electricity use. That's the way you get the other half from maglev system. The system which stops them from going to the medical hospitals for pains and the things which was no cure. The rest of the Europe will turn. We chose Italy, as I said, for a long time. Persians and Romans have been in bed for centuries and thousands of years. We changed culture and now we exchange knowledge. We are solid where we are. We respect the Italian government and we abide by the laws of Italy. At the same time, we start getting respect from the Italian structure for what the Italians do as Keshe Foundation. Once the advertising and the promotion for the backup systems goes Italy worldwide, the next door neighbors want the same. We have to start with the process of the evolution in energy. There is no return. The same with health. The same with everything else. Today is international teaching. So international is important for governments to understand what is coming out. We announce banking system with agreements. We announce financing, and maybe by Thursday we announce a major change even in approach into the religious section. Please understand, we work as one nation. So when we develop, when we agree, when we see we release the technology as one nation across all the planet. Let's go into teaching. We are going very fast. Today, I don't have my system with me, or I'm not on board. Usual, as I said, we were called to this emergency meeting with some of the most powerful people in the world, and we had to move in a position, so we don't have a choice. We have to work on the voice without the presentation. If there's anything needs to be done, hopefully by Thursday we will be back in the center if the negotiations finishes here today and tomorrow. The structure of the plasma has to be understood the way the plasma works. The structure of the plasma has to be understood the way the plasma releases its energy, interacts, and absorbs. As long as you consider only one, you will fall in the pitfall of the present science that only saw the magnetic field, but never understood that gravitation is when the magnetic field is attracted from what you release as a magnetic field. In the structure and understanding of the plasma, it is paramount for when you work with the system to look at the whole environment of the system. It's not anymore an engine that you can tune it and under the bonnet of the car. You can change a cylinder, you can change a valve, or you can reposition slightly the flow of air intake or fuel intake. When you work with plasma, you look at the whole of the structure in one go. This is the whole structure of the universal world, not what's under the bonnet. You have to start understanding what it receives, how it receives, how it gives, the way it gives, at what rate it gives, at what rate it receives, how much of it it shares with others, all happens simultaneously in one go. This is where the plasma technology, the way we develop it, differs than a mechanical system or how the present world of science has announced and worked on for centuries and always run into problems from one to another. When you work with plasma technology, you work in a very fine line of understanding totality of the science in that fine line. There is no other ways around it. There is no adjustment. The environment where the field you're working with works is important to work of the system you develop. As long as you do not understand this totality, you will see no results from your work. So as you create energy through interaction of fields by releasing the friction residue of the fields, what we call energy corrected, there is no free energy, but the conversion of the energy, the application of the energy in the right order as you need. If you understand this, now you can create a slightly different type of friction, stronger to a lighter, to create heat. You can use the same interaction of the fields in a slightly different strength to create light. You can do the same thing in a slightly different distance from the source to create matter. You can, in reality, create a condition inside with the fields you created in respect to another field to find a position, what we call space travel. So now you see the engine is one. It's now for us to learn that we don't need one engine for a car, a rocket propulsion for space, water treatment for drinking water, and fertilizers for the field. Because now, with one system, you decide at what rate you allow the fields to lose their strength or interact with to release the energy, to release the effects you expect. This is where the change will come. A lot of people will fall between the matter and the plasma on a continuous basis till they understand this concept, this principle, this working of the universe. We will have problem for those who cannot go through the transition of understanding the totality, and they get bogged down in different parts of the alleyway of the science of plasma. In nano, in gas, in plasma, in liquid plasma, in fields, and the rest. We see each one of you developing different angles, slightly different methods for producing what you think you're looking for results for. None of you is wrong. All of you are correct. But you have to understand what are the consequences of developing and what are the application of using the field technology. No one can tell you, unless you interact the wrong way, that is wrong. If you release huge amount of energy through the field transfer to the body of the man in a matter state, you create problem, huge problem, both from neurological side, psychological, and physical. Those who say we just nano-coated one end, but the pin we put in the skin, the nano-coating travels across the pin and will deliver nano-coating to the rest of the pin. Now you deliver nanomaterial inside the flesh of the wound of a person. And then it's a huge amount, can release and can cause havoc internally. Those of you who deliver and develop technologies in a cancer state and you try to drink it, you're told not to, because the gas is so powerful that does not need absorption. You can transfer its field in the balance level of the man through liquid of the water. And then if you go a further step, you can deliver it in its vapor condition, or you can deliver it in its field strength. This is what we have to learn. And plasma technology is simplicity of the creation and diversity of its application, but it's all the same. How you create lift, how do you create protection? How do you interact the fields to give you the desired food? What is food? It's the energy packages which is acceptable by the body of the man when is depleted of that energy. So, how easy should be to feed everyone? Should not be very hard. Do we need to create high-rise apartments, or can we all live in different stacks according to our need in the space of the universe? As I said, we don't teach anymore how to build new systems because we have reached the pinnacle of man's understanding of the creation of its universe. Now we teach you technique. We open your eyes to how you can play to create new techniques. In a way, as I was explaining, we built the first engine. Now it's you who's got to change it slightly to become a racing car, to become a truck, to become a lorry, to be used in a boat, or to be a Rolls Royce, or a Ford or Toyota, to be a motorbike, or to be used in the engines of the industry. But the essence is the same. Nothing has changed. Now, plasma technology is a hybrid. It's another fuel added, which we did not know. It's another fuel. There's another structure. Now, this fuel does not need containment. This fuel does not need process to produce it. There is no need to build up farms to destroy woods, to have wood to burn. There is no need for oil fields to get oils out, to refine, and all the rest of the pollution. There is no pollution with plasma technology. There is no danger with plasma technology. It's you who's got to understand how the wrong usage releases materials or conditions which is not desired to you at that point. We need to bring the understanding of the plasma technology in a very simple way that it can be understood by everyone. Let's look at how can we apply the plasma technology in the application and of, let's say, disinfection. How can we disinfect? On Thursday, hopefully, Benjamin will open a new door with the help of the Planning and Atomic Energy Authorities and the subsidy of the Planning and Atomic Energy Group. You will be surprised with what is on the table to become from Africa. The jewel and the crown of the Keshe Foundations are coming from Africa. You see more and more governments unconditionally helping themselves with the new technology. Benjamin, if documents are all in order and all the test confirms as we think should be done by them, we'll show you a new product which every one of you uses every day. It's tested, it's evaluated, it's been combined, and finally authorized by the use and measurement of the final data by a scientific organization that every one of you need it in every day of your life. This is the development of the technology, understanding the strength of the plasma, understanding the strength of the waters of the plasma, the use at the given strength of the gas that create and brings benefit to mankind. This is the beauty with this, what is to come on Thursday. On Thursday, we teach you a totally new structure on understanding of the work of the plasma within the atmosphere of the system, which all of you know, but you never considered it. I've explained it so many times in the past 2 or 3 years, but for the first time, you understand what are the manipulations. On Thursday, I teach you how to make diamond, pure diamond. You can make diamond the size of 100, 200 carats. even the diamond forces of the world will not be able to stop. This is on Thursday. I give you the principle, I show you the technology. All of you have seen it, all of you know it, but you never understood it. You'll be able to produce an understanding of the interaction of the fields, how to create the purest of the purest, the size you want diamonds. 20 carat, 200 carat. Why I teach you this? Because we told you we need crystals. Now you can build the crystals, you can make the crystals yourself. But it'll be a pure carbon crystal, what you call diamond, with no impurity. You will see the purity in the diamond according to the strength of your thoughts. I ask you to make a diamond. If you make a diamond and it's not transparent, it shows the intentions of you in the structure you have built. It shows my thoughts in respect to what you have built, and I can see if you think the same as I do. We talk about the piece, but what is your intention? That you made does not say so. When I look at it, I told you I'll start bringing the technology in a way that we build the tools for the new industry, for the new technology. On Thursday, I'll show you how to do it. If I build a diamond, which my intention is for peace, and you look at it in a way to see the diamond, and I see blood in it, the color of blood in it, the color of intention of hate in it, the diamond will change color. Because my diamond was pure. It's the interaction in the fields of your intention will show the clarity of the intention and the soul. Will show you, you all know how to do it. You already have done it, but you never stood to change the technique. Now, I brought you this way. Now, I show you the use of the fields of the plasma. If I make a diamond with my intention to feed the world by my plan is to destroy as much as possible, I ask you to open the book. Just look in and build a diamond for me. And my intention is to feed unconditionally. I look, I see the color of yours, what it comes to. If it's no interaction, it stays pure and clear. Now, I want to know how many of you are prepared to start building diamonds. You've been looking for crystals and how do we make crystals? Now, we all know how to make it. And we all see the intention that you built the system. No president can ever lie. I'm a peaceful president. Please, sir, make your diamond. My intention is peaceful. We'll see the color will come. These are the processes which I have taught you all the way along in the past 2 or 3 years. Now we bring the application. We bring the understanding of it, how you can manipulate plasma to understand the emotion, the true emotion of your opposition. The ones who have used the technology in the correct way will deliver it. The technology, the application of technology to make diamond has been on the table for all of you for months. It's been sitting, I always said. The soul physically evolved and involved that they cannot see what's in front of them. The interaction of the plasma in creation of the plasma, in the control of the plasma, leads to the effect you want without the plasma ever being. Because you have used the lower inferior level, which is an emotion, compared to the soul. So the behavior will be on the table. Building materials, building systems is not needed. We have to do for man to understand. But those who become wise to it understand through their emotion, through their movement and interaction of their soul, they can build whatever they. I wonder how many of you will build these crystals and take it to the elections when the presidential nominees, they say, my intention is peaceful. And you say, sir, this was made, and the color is not. It's very simple. The structure of the universe is transparent. The darkness in the universe we see is not the lack of fields, it's the homogeneity and equal balance of the fields which creates no interaction. So the darkness, where you have the fields of different strength interact, you see different lights. Red star, blue star, pink star, because they interact with the environment in different ways. And your emotion is an environment around the crystal. The process to develop technologies, systems, to be able to reach a vast number of people has to be done through plasma technology. Otherwise, there'll be thousands of years before we can teach every man everything, and then they die, we have to teach to the children. Now, we teach the technology, we ingrain it in the soul of the man. That doesn't matter how many generations are created, man will be peaceful because he has changed the soul level, which is created out of the matter state of the environment of the creation. Any questions?
Well, Nadine says on live stream, she says, it seems to me that some of us are a bit depressed. I think we need emotions instead of reactors to make ourself being the reactor. Am I wrong?
Do we need reactors? We already answered this last Thursday.
Yes, this seems to come up quite a bit, especially in the last 6 months or so of the teachings and so on, the online teachings, the private teachings, and so on. We explored that idea. Do we need reactors? Do we need indeed even a spaceship to travel in space? And so on. This is a pretty big idea. But she's saying we need emotions instead of reactors to make ourselves being the reactor.
So maybe we can answer, please use your emotion to build it, but understand what emotion you create. When we can bring in balance an intermediary condition between the vast energy difference between the gaseous part and the matter part of this planet, then we created peaceful creatures. Understand what I said? And go back in the teaching which we've done before in the past. The reason for the aggression of man is the energy needed to satisfy the existence of this physicality when the amino acid of the gaseous part of this planet interacts with the physical matter part of this planet. And the gap is so huge that the transfer of energy is so massive that that satisfying needs huge amount of energy. And that energy demands compacts, packages of a huge amount of energy. That's why we eat packages of energy. We eat animals. We eat verticals. If man understands that he can introduce through a specific condition, through the plasma technology, an intermediary within the structure of the soul of the man that cuts this such a huge gap and becomes a supporter between the two, the behavior of every creature on this planet will change. This is what has not been understood. I explained this in the teaching before. You have the amino acid, and then you have the metals which create the iron. 13 is a big gap. It's a huge gap. And to satisfy this energy needed for the huge gap, you have to go into understanding and the use of packages of energy. And this is where the habit of killing has come for the man. This is where everything has changed. In a way, if you can find an intermediary, a understanding of it, then you will find out very, 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 very easily you can avoid all the pitfalls of the creation and the rest. Can you go on Wikipedia and look at magnesium, please? Rick?
Sure, Mr. Kish. Okay, let's get that set up here. Okay, we have magnesium in our Wikipedia here. I'm gonna get the live stream set up so folks at home can see. There we go. Do you want me to just say what it says here, Mr. Kesh?
Yes, please.
Okay. First of all, it says magnesium is not to be confused with manganese. Manganese, I should say. Manganese. Manganese. Okay, so magnesium is a chemical element with the symbol Mg and the atomic number 12. It is a shiny gray solid which bears a close physical resemblance to the other 5 elements in the second column. Group 2 are the alkaline earth metals of the periodic table. All group 2 elements have the same electron configuration in the outer electron shell and a similar crystal structure. Magnesium is the 9th most abundant element in the universe. It is produced in large aging stars from the sequential addition of 3 helium nuclei to a carbon nucleus. When such stars explode as supernova, much of the magnesium is expelled into the interstellar medium, where it may recycle into new star systems. Magnesium is the 8th most abundant element in the Earth's crust and the 4th most common element in the Earth after iron, oxygen, and silicon, making up 13% of the planet's mass and a large fraction of the planet's mantle. It is the 3rd most abundant element dissolved in seawater after sodium and chlorine. Magnesium occurs naturally only in combination with other elements where it invariably has a +2 oxidation state. The free element, metal, can be produced artificially and is highly reactive, though in the atmosphere it is soon coated in a thin layer of oxide that partially inhibits reactivity. See passivation. The free metal burns with a characteristic brilliant white light. The metal is now obtained mainly by electrolysis of magnesium salts obtained from brine and is used primarily as a component in aluminum magnesium alloys, sometimes called magnalium or magnesium. Magnesium is less dense than aluminum, and the alloy is prized for its combination of lightness and strength. Magnesium is the 11th most abundant element by mass in the human body, and the ions are essential to all cells. Magnesium ions interact with polyphosphate compounds such as ATP, DNA, and RNA. Hundreds of enzymes require magnesium ions to function. Magnesium compounds are used medicinally as common laxatives and acids, such as milk of magnesia, and to stabilize abnormal nerve excitation or blood vessel spasm in such conditions as eclampsia. Magnesium ions are sour to the taste, and in low concentrations they help impart a natural tartness to fresh mineral waters. Magnesium is the metallic ion at the center of chlorophyll and is a common component in fertilizers. It goes on with its characteristics such as physical properties and chemical properties. Source of light.
Is it correct if we look at it partially or totally, the interaction of magnesium or plasmatic gravitational field of the magnesium, which is found about 24, and sodium is found about 22, which leads to creation of vertical people, calm, serene. Is this an answer for us to create systems which is halfway between the two, where the condition of the vast field strength difference between the amino acid and what brings it into existence is not so big, is in reverse. If you look with iron and amino acid, we get hemoglobin. Gap is big, but in the positive, it needs to receive. But if you do the same amino acid with magnesium, what we call the greenness of the plants, more or less, what we call vegetation color, in being more or less half of, roughly, by taking energy from the amino acid, has created calmness and serenity in plants. Do we need to produce a magnetic plasmatic condition where we take energy in the structure of hemoglobin, but make it universally in a position that allows this reduction without changing the physicality? Is this a solution? Or do we go for everlasting energies of the highest order compared to our amino acid, and to satisfy it, we consume more and more energy and make us trying to get the energy in such a bigger packages and make us more aggressive. (56 to 24). Aggressive, forever chasing to find food to satisfy the potential differences in matter strength between the physical and the gaseous section. Red blood. Or we go to the green side and become serene, half the energy, 24, 5, peaceful, no need to walk. So in your systems, you have to understand now what you need to build to create a peaceful planet. Something, system, that in energy package allows the retraction, or it satisfies the interaction of the use of the heavy element by subsidizing, by changing, by understanding the interaction of the amino acid of the body of the man. Then, if you understood that, and you can create such a condition, would the man turn green too? Is the color of green a balanced, peaceful condition of the atmospheric condition of this planet? Are there Martians, or have Martians are those who understood and converted their understanding in the position of the atmosphere of this planet? You remember the story of the orange drink, which was part of which went into British markets a few years ago, and a lot of children start drinking it and they start going orange on the skin. Look in the press. Would it be the same way if we want to make a peaceful man by using, understanding the use of what we call the lighter elements, which still confers physicality with emotion, with all senses, like the plants, will change the man into green? We have to understand the interaction of plasmatic field, and there is no choice but to find a condition where the energy package comes from the environment and not the matter state. Then you will find out man becomes peaceful, because it takes energy at a balanced level from the gravitational magnetic field of his environment and not from the physical structure matter state of the planet. Then, because the amino acid is created from the same environment, you find it finds a balanced way to absorb energy, not a high demand for big packages, and the man will lose the habit of murdering, killing, and everything else just to absorb energy that he can think, emotionally react, and reproduce. Now, maybe we open the secret into the way you have to build your systems. Understanding of creation of the matter state, but without a high difference in gravitational magnetic field strength, that to keep it, you have to feed it. And to feed it, if it's in balance, doesn't need much, but if it's too big, it has to find packages to satisfy. Does not matter how much emotionally we feed it, but at the end, the physicality has to be satisfied with the energy balance of the existence. This is what we start teaching. Production of the system which creates magnetic gravitational field strength, which satisfies the need of the emotion of the existence. That the physical existence will change itself to accepting a new way of field without digesting packages of it. Any other question?
Mr. Kesh, it does mention in the part about magnesium that, let me see here, spices, nuts, cereals, cocoa, and vegetables are rich sources of magnesium, and green leafy vegetables such as spinach are also rich in magnesium since they contain chlorophyll. Now, it's interesting that they mention deficiencies in the population. There's quite a deficiency. Many people are deficient, and it mentions that it can lead to neuromuscular, cardiovascular, and metabolic dysfunction, as well as alcoholism is often associated with magnesium deficiency. So I thought that was interesting. And there is a treatment with what's called magnesium threonate. It's a new form of magnesium, holds promise as a treatment of mild cognitive impairment. So it delivers high amounts of magnesium to the central nervous system and has in preclinical animal studies shown remarkable results, even reversing advanced Alzheimer's in some cases. So there's some, oh, wow, this is interesting too. They're mentioning the results are in line with systematic reviews showing that Alzheimer's patients have lower magnesium levels than healthy people, despite the apparent simplicity of replenishing the brain's stores of a vital mineral. This study parallels recent findings in other domains of neurobiology. For example, the finding that a new copper formulation is able to halt the progression of ALS. And they give some sort of research on that, actually, from 2016, January 2016. We'll have to copper delivery to the central nervous system by copper ATSM, whatever that is, effectively treats motor neuron disease in mice, at least, with expressing that. So
This is in line. This is in line with what we said.
Yes, this is what you
explained this years ago. That the neural system in the body of man is done in the muscle tissues by the copper. So in a way, this confirms what we discussed a long time ago.
And you've used that as part of your, as part of the what would you call it? Not treatment, but the processing of ALS. So I understand it would be in, health cups or various other treatments would often
They
use
all carry copper.
Mm-hmm.
They all carry copper. That's why I said the systems in with what do you call it? Like the one that people was using the vertical. We use a copper because the copper is the neural system of the red tissue, red muscle, and it's the way it works. It has the reason for it. It has the conductivity of carbon. Carbon is 12, and if you go 5 times 12 gives 60, which is copper. So in the red tissue, because the higher density of the mass, the body uses the property of the interaction of the fields of the gas of the copper for information transfer, which is your neural system. This is what we realized years ago, and in papers and a lot of discussions always explain. Copper is the neural system. What is the neural system? It's a communication line. It is for information carrying from what is happening physically to the brain of the man. But you can't put in the way it's used as a nerve system, the white neural system, white nerves. So the copper does the job. In a high density, you need the higher potence. And so you see the copper plays the game. 5 times 12. Much more powerful. Carries the intention and information within the tightness of the red tissue. You can use it, and because you support the physical part, it converts the energy the way it is when it gets to the brain and equal to the what you call transformation of the information in the brain of the man as it is with amino acid. And it has a direct connection with the zinc because the zinc carries the emotion. The copper carries the information. And emotion has to be slightly more than the copper as a conductor that it can carry in it. Otherwise it would be negative. And that's why now we use zinc for emotional purposes. But you never put copper in the brain helmets. Now pieces fall in step by step. Any other question or any other point? People like Dr. Rodriguez will have a fantastic field with this to understand exactly where they have to go and what they've got to do. You get a person not knowing a thing and walk out of the surgery knowing everything that he couldn't even remember he knew. Any other points?
There's Steve who says in the live stream, Mr. Kesh has said there's a huge gap between 13, and Steve says clearly he's referring to the gap between 12 magnesium and 13 aluminum on the periodic table. Mr. Kesh, why is there this huge gap of elements?
Explain what is he trying to explain?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a direct connection there or whether we're trying to.
He's looking at the graph of the periodic table.
Yeah.
And visually, there's a gap between 12 and 13.
Okay.
You're talking about 12 as what and 13 as what?
Element 12 on the periodic table is magnesium, and element 13 is aluminum. So if you pull up a picture of the periodic table there on your computer there, Rick.
Oh, you mean as a picture, the way it's laid out, you mean?
You see 12 here, magnesium, and we see 13 aluminum over on the other side of the periodic table, you might say. So the magnesium's grouped with the beryllium, calcium,
I
strontium.
understand.
The aluminum's grouped with the other gallium, indium, and
This is how it's been done in the matter state. It doesn't work this way in the gas and the plasma state. So it's irrelevant. You look at this in the matter state. We look at everything we speak, even about copper and about the what you call carbon. We look at the plasma transfer energy and the tolerance according to the mass. There are different tables. They've been set different ways. Depends which table you look at. Any other question?
Francois has a question. He's here, Francois Flibot. Maybe you want to ask your question, Francois.
Yeah, Mr. Cash, it's me again. Sorry.
Don't worry.
Remember when you gave those 2 bottles to Daniela in Italy, and she missing time, and she went 20 kilometers away? You had 2 bottles with GANs at the time. She didn't know it was GANs, but it seems to be like 2 colors different. One was white, probably CO2, and the other one was kind of green, but I guess it would have been a mixture. Could it be like something like GAN, CuO, and lead or something?
Yeah. What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to find out why, you know, there's been a mixture of field which was pretty strong, and I guess it happened with his emotion that the maker.
See, that system, which the material which was given to her, in so many ways we don't disclose a lot of things when you do, but you wait till you see the results. As I said to you before, when SDK and Belgium Nuclear Center wanted materials, I gave them the liquid, which was the blood of the man. I gave the liquid, which was the admission of this man. I gave the liquid, which was for the purpose what it was. When I give things like this to people, I expect certain reactions, because in so many ways, if you go back to the teaching of last couple of weeks ago, when we spoke about the time and space and how you can split time and space, this comes on the gradient of the field strength. The emotion of not wanting to be was part of the structure. And both systems, both liquids, carried a common denominator, which in it allowed you to travel in time and space. You were not supposed to discuss this, but now it's on the table, we discuss. What we say in the zero time travel, I gave the liquid to a lady here in Italy, and Francois, because was working with the lady. She said, how many times, Francois?
Twice. It happened twice in the 2 days period that she had the liquid with her. So I figured
And
out
that was the, yeah.
Yeah, it
so
was
pardon?
Yeah, it was. She was going somewhere, so she probably went through an emotional state that interact with those fields, and that's what happened. Why she lost time and she traveled like 20 kilometers away without her knowledge.
In a way, you can create this position because you have to ask the person what was the intention and thoughts in that time.
That was my next question. That was my next
Yes.
question, because she didn't have time to discuss a couple of minutes ago, but that was my next question that I was going to ask her.
Yes, and what did she answer?
She didn't answer because she has to leave. She was busy with customers, so she didn't have time to answer my next question. So I missed this one.
We create a condition. We have now seen people who are repeating this. The time lapse, the time stop. We are doing this in the Innovation Center. We see that. And if you replicate it, all of you, you'll come to see that because the intention is of the same as the field, the time does not exist or slows near to it. It is very, 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 very easy to do. And you can create it yourself. You can create new systems in coming time. If you understood the structure of how to make crystals, and the teaching of today, we went through it, how crystals are made, or you can make it, then you will understand. If you are within the center of the crystal, which is the equality of the balance of all the fields, there is no time because you're part of the time itself.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yep.
And in both liquids, she was carrying a carbon oxide.
Really?
Yep.
But one was green and one was white.
Yes, but you didn't see the color of the green, how strong it was before it's, what do you call it, the carbon oxide was added to it.
I see.
You see the person you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
a few of us know who she is. She is in a condition that physical life is irrelevant because in what she adores is not here. The time does not exist. So as part of the job we do, scientists and mind level, is to bring the comfort to the soul. And when you bring the comfort and balance to the soul, time does not exist. You understand?
Yep.
And that's what it is. That's how we serve what we call those who serve the foundation. We take their pains or we give them the desire of their wishes.
So somehow this GANs made her feel well enough that that the time stopped for her.
In a way, it's more than that, but in a short way, understanding that the time is irrelevant. And you should have asked where she was going both times. Then I think you get your answer. You can create with very, very small amount of liquid, very, very small amount of liquid, conditions to stop the expectation of life on this planet. Is very easy. It's so easy. It's unbelievable. And all of you know it, but you have ignored it because you never understood it. The structure of the life on this planet, it depends on the creation of amino acid to kick in the time of the existence of it. If there is no amino acid, there is no life. And if you can create a plasmatic magnetic field of the amino acid in the existence of the environment of your body, the time comes to stop or slow down. And depends how much you keep in touch and in interaction with it. So if you want to look at the time, slowing of time on this planet, how you can slow time, look in how the life started with this planet to start with. That's where the time starts. As long as there is no amino acid, there is no life, so there is no start. And the atmosphere of this planet, you breathe in amino acid day and night. Every breath man takes, part of it is amino acid which is floating in the atmosphere. Because the salt of the sea is in the vapor of the environment of this planet. and the metals are floating on this planet like everything else do in your, what you call it, CO2 box. Then if you can create a balanced energy in respect to the creator of the life, you have reached zero time. As I always say, blessed those who understand. Then you know how to stop the time in the universe, if you understood this. This goes back to a step further. If we have seen the interaction of the fields due to interaction of the gases of this atmosphere of this planet has led to life of the man or the fish or the tree or the entities which are still are in a condition of lower state, that they did not become plants or animals, which they float within the atmosphere of this planet, then you understand the same interaction exists in the atmosphere of this solar system. So you do not need to have the plants, you do not need to have the soil to have the interaction, but life exists within the plasma of this solar system too, because of the interaction and the creation of the fields, as was taught in the teaching of this morning. And then you understand, if that's the case, the same applies within the structure of the life of a galaxy. Each galaxy within its environment creates a cycle of life which is specific to it. And it's what man got to understand. And then you have the same thing in the interaction of the spaces between the what you call galaxies. So life repeats itself. In life, meaning repetition of the existence and maintaining the existence in all levels and environments of the universe. And if you can create that balance, then time in that level does not exist. Time exists when there is a change and a reduction in the strength. When it's of the same, there is no change. There is no time to change. So it's a zero time. And if you satisfy the emotion or the physicality equal to what is needed, the time does not exist at that point of time. And if you satisfy it, it could be 100 seconds, it could be near to satisfaction, it slows down 10 seconds in 1 hour, or 10 seconds in a minute. Or if you satisfy it fully, physically, you travel. But time-wise, no time. You go from one to another. Now you know what I've done. Are we there or are we lost?
No, I'm meditating on what you said. Thank you so much.
now you understand, huh?
Yes, but I'm going to need to meditate some more on that.
You don't need meditation. You need to understand the strength of the creation. When your desire is to be with your loved one, by being with the loved one, you satisfy the desire. So there is no time. You understand?
Yes, I understand now.
And she lost her husband she loved so dearly.
Yes, that's true.
And we satisfy that loss.
Yes, I understand now.
Now you understand how it works.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's why I said to you, you should ask her what she was thinking at the time when there was no time.
Yeah, but she was talking to me about this husband and stuff like that, so I know pretty much the
because
stories as well. Yeah.
the two containers were on the back of the seat,
Yes.
which was the third part, which completely satisfied.
Hmm.
She came to cure, she got cured, if you understand.
Yep.
Not cured as illness, cured as what we say, you cure a meat. You understand?
Yep.
You create an environment to give blessing to those who receive the gift.
And she was probably on his way home when she lost the the time
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I was thinking about the good feeling to be home. She was
To be
missing.
with him.
Yeah.
You understand?
Exactly.
The time is zero. And you created one other person in Innovation Center has achieved it, but he can't explain it, but I can explain to him why. Because the slowing is not totality, it's few seconds. Because part of the emotion is satisfied, not the totality.
Mhm.
Time can run for me, but not for you, because you have reached this is what we call, we wish to leave the body of physicality, because then the time doesn't exist, because physical life has decay into it, and decay needs time. To give, to become lower. When you come to point of perfection, there is no time. And as man understands this more and more, you'll find man will exist for hundreds, thousands of years in space. Any other question? I hope you understood, Francois, and you can make a machine for that.
Sure. You know, remember the story that Ralph Ring told us about when he had this experience in the flying saucer that they built, and they kind of lost time as well. You know, it's like it's probably that the intention, you know, was they felt so great that part of it was not only the technology, but what was the intention as well.
Satisfying the intentions.
Mm-hmm.
There is a say, they say when you're with your loved ones, time flies.
So that was part of the story you never told because you probably never figured it out as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can understand now. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's great to be here.
Thanks for the knowledge you bring.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Well, we have a GANS question in the Q&A here from Rick Harris. He says, Mr. Kesh, I've watched the video on making the GANs of silver, and they use 4 9-volt batteries all connected together. I have recreated this process, but what turns out is large flakes and very heavy black substance. Can you recommend a proven process to create the GANs of silver and gold?
Who did you listen to make your process? And what process did you follow?
Yeah, he says he watched the video
Whom?
with 4 9-volt batteries all connected together.
Yeah, but who made that video?
Yes.
And was it the silver, pure silver?
Rick, let me see if he's here. Maybe he can say something about that. Don't see him in our participants here right now, but
He put the question on.
I think I know what he's talking about. It's the video that the guy create the what you talked about before to create the crystal and use 4 batteries with the anode with the different anodes, and you can see with the microscope the crystal being created pretty fast, as a matter of fact. So that's probably what he's talking about.
And how fast is the crystal? How big does the crystal become?
Oh, they're very small because we could see it from a microscope. but depending on what the because he used a resistor to reduce the current, and when he was using direct current without the resistor, the crystal would form very, very small but faster. But when you put the resistor, it would lower the current, and then you could see a nice built crystal that that was being built. It's on YouTube.
And how big does the crystal come to?
Well, from what I seen, it was just a very small little container, and even put a liquid. He put some I can't remember what's the name of the liquid that he put in between the two electrode, and he put a little glass on top of it so he can focus on his microscope. And this glass was, as a matter of fact, limiting the size of the crystal as well.
I'll teach you one day why. Is Armand about? Or is he still asleep?
I believe he's still asleep because yesterday was pretty late when I talked to him.
Oh, you're the cause of him being asleep.
Yeah, that's probably.
I hope his wife doesn't hear that. Armand! Are you talking to Francois? She blamed me for months now. He's not here. He can blame you. It's good.
I'm gonna be the one now. We're both in the same boat.
I don't see him on the list right now, so perhaps he is getting some rest. But
yeah, he's very busy. He's developing something beautiful in the background. Should be finished tomorrow, hopefully, or Thursday. He can finish it. There is a process to produce silver GANs in different ways. I produce it in a very natural way. Armand does it a different way. And if you produce silver GANs and you allow it to form itself, any GANs which you produce in a rapid way with a high current, which is the separation of the atomic into a gas direct without going to a multi-structure absorption. What this means, if you go, for example, to create copper oxide, if the copper oxide release of the nano layer from the copper to the water is very slow, it allows the interaction of the fields of the matter and a GANs state with the GANs matter of the water, which is H2O, for the oxygen to attach itself to the fields of the copper. That's how you get your CuO or CuO2. Don't forget, copper is 60 with the variation of the plasmatic magnetic field mass in the plasmatic condition. Oxygen at O2 or O is half, which is 32, or 16, which is a quarter, is in proportion, in cluster, the same in ratio as the gravitational magnetic mass, half of what is with the copper. So they create that greenish color, copper oxide zinc, or CuO2 or CO. If you increase the power slightly to a certain voltage, a certain amperage, the ratio of the attraction and interaction between the oxygen and the copper becomes very fast. It cannot be so much. You produce what I call reddish, brassy color. If you increase the speed of the conversion from the matter to nano to a GANs, you create a single structure, because it's in a single structure in a way that it absorbs everything in that single structure as a nano layer. So it becomes black. You produce copper, nano copper structure, and it's black color. We do it quite often in the factory. If the current is not there, we get a black copper nano gas. The same thing happens when you do with silver. And it can create black gold too in the gas state. Is the ratio of separation from the matter to the nano to the gas state. So what you do, in fact, you release a nanoatomic on its own, but in the structure. The reason you get it white is again, is slightly orientated on the field strength of the interaction of plasma with the atmospheric condition. So if you get blocks of it, it means massive layers have been released in one go together. So it means your current is too high, or your voltage is too high, or the composition. The way you have to produce, a lot of you trying to produce nano, what they call silver for application in energy or medicine, has to be a process where you loosen your material and then you release it. So you can go the way I've done for years, put silver in a very small container, large quantity of NaOH, large quantity, it's a heating up process. And then leave it for it to do its work. Drain the water, and then you can put it across plates. Again, if you use a resistor, you would release very few. If you use current, you would release more. And if you use a high current, you get flakes of it. If your system is that you heat it up very fast and you quench it, nano layers become like sheets. You get a splashing, you get nanoparticles, but when you see them, they are not, there's a cluster of particles. So it's a different way to produce gases. You have to understand what you're doing. You have to be able to control the separation. If you want a pure silver, gold, even nickel oxides, or on their own, you have to understand the process. You need to loosen it. When you loosen it, then you can separate it with a very low current. Very, very low current. And usually, in taking the energy, you allow the separation. You see the way we produced monatomic gold in Fukushima is that we spread the material. We literally sprayed over. And in that process of spray, everything becomes very much nanostructured, and it allows the tritium to come in the process of energy. If you put a block in, it never works. When you use the gas water, gives you that possibility of control. Where with the gas itself, you don't have that control. You got to understand the technology, understand the principle of interaction of the fields and how they react in matter state, in a medium, and as an entity. Any other question? There's nobody there. They are all asleep. Hello? Hello?
We're here, Mr. Cash. Just trying to find some new questions here.
There's a question at the chat there.
Pardon?
There's a question at the chat there about how does magnesium react with iron?
In a gas state, they work together. This is what is different in a matter state. This is what I explained in the teaching last Thursday. When you make the gas of the water, plasmatic liquid of the gas of magnesium or iron, you'll find out they totally behave different than in a matter state. And so your work, in our work, we never try not to speak about the matter state. We speak about the gas state interaction of the entities, of the materials. There is something I have to say. Due to the situation we have, which is more or less out of our control, we might have to cancel, if it is, we'll let you know beforehand, a couple of hours before, the teaching of the doctors. If we don't cancel it, if the doctors want to speak together and discussing what they're doing, I might not be present in the teaching tomorrow. Just to inform the doctors who are listening that you can carry on with your discussions with what you achieved or what you're doing with your systems. I might not be able, because I might have to be in a meeting, a very important high-level meeting. We have to be at this governmental level. And so we might not be there. If I'm not there, I'll let you know a couple of hours before. But we try to keep the Thursday teaching on, but we might be very short because if you come to New England, we have to be present in a certain number of meetings, and most probably we do a Thursday morning like we did with the Dubai meeting for 1 or 2 hours. And it all depends how we can with our negotiations with the officials. Any other question?
Yes, there was one kind of interesting question on the live stream from Dimitri. And he says, are those plasma fields, do they neutralize the negative emotions of the human? And is that what creates a direct connection to our soul? And is that what gives you...
There is no negative. There is nothing negative. If this is the matter state, negative and positive. In the plasma, in the gas state, we look if you have a surplus field to give, which you do not need, or you need to take because you need it. This is how you create a balance.
There's no negative. It's acceptance. Good morning.
Oh, this sounds like Brad just waking up.
Yes, I'm paying attention. Yeah. People they don't understand what I know. So there's no negative. It's in generality, it's they accept what they need, and there's no negative and positive. It's they accept, if you understand.
Depends who you want to understand.
Yeah,
Or is it to their benefit to understand?
yes, it's to the benefit of one entity or the other. Like you said. As you know, I have encountered many entities, and I'll just be quiet.
Okay, any other questions, or we're about 4:20, 4:30? We close it for today. I think if you learn a little bit of what was taught or what we shared as knowledge, we have crossed a huge barrier in time, in understanding how to interact and how to change things.
Okay, that sounds good, Mr. Cash. Thank you very much for.
I have to go to a meeting. I have to finish it by about 4:30 anyway. I have an important meeting. That's why we are here. Hopefully, we'll be at the teachings tomorrow. If not, on Thursday, if we eventually do something which is done, we agreed we might do a very short Thursday teaching, or we carry on. If you're back in Barletta, why not just quicker than we think? Come back to Barletta, and we'll be in Barletta. As I said, in us going to China, as we are on international teaching, we will teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays from Beijing live, but it'll be what you call it, the same time as European time, but the Chinese time. And all the teachings and work, with us in China will be broadcasted live for the Chinese community, those who are concerned or involved with the foundation's work. And we thank the Chinese community for their support and the response we have received from the Chinese since last Thursday announcement. Thank you very much.
And when will that start, Mr. Cash? Is that next week or the week after?
Which one?
When is the broadcast from China?
Oh, we're not disclosing anything.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. I thought you were.
We had the experience. We had a Canadian experience once, so we never disclose again.
Okay.
All our movement is in the hands of the Chinese officials.
I will see you in China.
Pardon?
I will see you in China.
Oh, I will see you anywhere, no problem. We'll have a what do you call it?
We'll have a reunion.
Yeah, a bit too late after the way.
No, I'm gonna go see you in China. Don't worry.
No problem. The most important thing is that for our Italian listeners, the banking system from first opens up the documentation for application online of Cash Foundation is will be from with the Dutch bank. Will be online of the Cash Foundation this week. You can order the systems, and the same as we kept. Now that the whole organization, the setup is set, we will see to the structure of delivery up to about 100,000 a week in the coming weeks, and everything else is getting set up for it to be done. We had a teething problem, but we're there. You can go to the bank. It will be in the Italian press, hopefully tonight, the first issues. We test the local, see how the system goes, and then it will be tested in Milan and other place. And then it'll go internationally. But if you're a Cash Foundation supporter online, you know what it is. You can go to the Cash Foundation website and download the application, fill it in online, and do certain documentation is needed, which is the standard Italian process. And then we start the delivery of the systems, at least up to about 4,000 a week to start with, and then we'll talk beyond that. And secondly, I have to thank our suppliers, who some of them online, supporting us into being able to achieve this kind of demand for delivery. Thank you very much, and see you hopefully on Thursday morning.
One more comment.
Yes.
The Department of Energy is we're going full speed U.S. government. Put it that way.
Pardon?
The Department of Energy is full speed ahead.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean, Mr. Hank?
You have to explain unquoted, because you're explaining what you're doing with Colonel Hankey and the American government. You better now, you're the person that you better explain.
Oh my lord.
Yes, your lord is landed.
I'm
sure President Obama will be knocking at your door with the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Now you have to explain.
Okay. We are going full speed ahead. Department of Energy, DARPA, and space technology that's outside the purview of the government. Do you understand?
Yes. So in a way,
I'm telling the public this is what we're doing.
okay. So now what it is, because as you know, Brad and the Keshe Foundation has a connection with the governmental side and what we call with the Department of Energy. Keshe Foundation is delivering the report to all DARPA and Department of Energy and what we call the space technology back of NASA. Our collaboration has started in a very open way, but in a public way. And you were not supposed to announce this one, Brad, but it's okay. It's your neck, not mine. Thank you very much. Pardon?
I'm telling these people to put pressure on them.
They don't need the pressure, they already know. The Department of Energy has been a supporter of the Keshe Foundation for a long time. We've been asked to attend a number of meetings with the Department of Energy and with NASA. Now it's a change in the government as it comes. We know the Jewish lobby has been forcing the non-intervention activities, but now this is moving out, and Brad and a couple of other people in US and Keshe Foundation working and direct communication with them, and DARPA is part of the structure for them. Thank you very much. It was not supposed to be public, but you made it public. You stayed asleep, Brad.
No.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much indeed. As now you know, we work with the Chinese as much as now we will collaborate to spread the knowledge within the American structure.
Yes, it's going well.
Thank you very much. We'll see you on Thursday morning, and hopefully with the doctors we find a time to be with you tomorrow. There's a lot to teach, and there's a lot of things which has been come forward in the development of the medical application. Thank you very much for today, and we'll see you Thursday morning.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you. Yeah. You can play the tape of the Italian Rome conference if you like.
I think, Vince, do you have that perhaps? I'll see if Vince has that lined up. And otherwise, this is the end of the 17th International Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Tuesday, May 31st, 2016. And let me see if we have that lined up here or not. Something coming through.
The Universal Council invites you to attend the One Planet, One Nation, One Race event in Rome on the 9th and 10th of September 2016. The Council looks forward to open interaction with the public at the event. Come interact with the Council in your spoken language. The Council encourages you to bring your positive suggestions and solutions to the table on how humanity can move forward as a whole towards everlasting peace. In this way, the work of the members of the Council will become the work of humanity for humanity. The full package price for a single ticket to the event includes 3-night stay in one of Rome's prestigious hotels, daily attendance to the event, as well as breakfast on the 9th through the 11th, and lunch and tea on the 9th and 10th. Accommodations for this package is based on double occupancy. The full package price for 2 tickets to the event includes 3-night stay in a twin-bed room in one of Rome's prestigious hotels, daily attendance to the event, as well as breakfast on the 9th through the 11th and lunch and tea on the 9th and 10th. Additional nights stay are offered at €150 per person per night. For those who wish to arrange their own accommodations and who plan on attending a single day of the event, the cost will be €200, which includes tea and lunch on the day of the event. For those who wish to arrange their own accommodations and who plan on attending both days of the event, the cost will be €400, which includes tea and lunch on the day of the event. The One Planet, One Nation, One Race event in Rome. Come share your positive solutions on how we can work together to bring everlasting peace to our world.
And thank you all for attending.
All other people that maybe do not know at the moment what recordings exist, you can give them those, that they can learn from them. And of course that they can join also our English speaking teachings, those who can understand, and the others, I hope for them that we can create the subtitles as soon as possible, translate it into the language. They can still watch our recordings made in English, but they can read the subtitles in their language, and by this they can spread the knowledge much faster. That's all what I would like to add at this point.
Can I just share my screen 1 second so the people can see what is available in French? Thank you.
Sure, yes.
So here, this is the announcement. So it's every Thursday at 7 o'clock. It's the Cash Foundation for the education part. In Facebook, they have all the data. Then on the Cash Foundation Spaceship Institute YouTube channel list, you will find all the different subjects, the international knowledge seeker, Italian, and here you have the public teaching in French. So you have all the already registered public teaching, and the internet site in French for 2 parts, for the Cash Foundation Spaceship Institute and the Cash Foundation Spaceship Institute Space Program is already translated. We just need to finish the design, but it's already translated, so we are in good way to advance. And just to show you perhaps one thing, it's what we are doing with the translation. We are making the subtitles, and for example, the community can take the language. This is the last video for the One Planet, One Race, One Nation, for example. And when the people play the video, they have the subtitle, and for example, for the, if I take another video, is already done, so they can have the subtitle in English, in French, and other language in Polish and different. For the kids workshop, we have some nice video in English, French, German. We need to just finish the work. Polish is already done. Spanish, not finished. Turkish, it's done. And then we will have all this subtitle, and then we can upload on the official video on the YouTube channel from the Spaceship Institute. And so the last workshop will be available with the subtitles. It's a lot of work, and if somebody wants to help on this cycle, it will be really nice, because we need some backup on this. So that's all for the moment.
Of course, we would need the same to be done also on for the private teaching recordings, where we have a little problem that we need that we can actually allow collaboration only to the students, right? Because we can't share the private teaching recordings with the public. That means we have less people to work on that. But as soon as we get this done, the students that are joining now, and for example, they don't understand English well, they can still watch these private teachings and read the subtitles in their language, and by that they can spread the knowledge much faster. So we are working on the platform where all this would be possible to allow students to actually work on that. So as soon as this will be ready, we will announce that, and we hope that a lot of you will be willing to spend your time to actually work on translation. So we have a lot of recordings that we need the subtitles to create for, and
we have established the public teaching channel. So for the people living in Europe, the time is Thursday at 7, all Thursday at 7 o'clock in the evening. And the Canadian people, French Canadian, have another meeting program. I don't know exactly the time and the date. And we manage to make available some teaching for the private teaching, because there is a lot of new students from the French-speaking part that become a part of the KFSSI official teaching, and we will have some teaching especially for the French-speaking part. So this is the news, and yeah, the French community have some nice knowledge seekers, and we have some really good news regarding the evolution of the technology, regarding the different aspects on the health section, the agriculture section, the energy system, and a lot of ideas. And yeah, it's nice, it's going well. And I want to thank a lot Stanley for all the work he's doing, for giving a nice platform for a maximum of people can reach the teaching. And we doesn't want to create some separation, but we will manage to have all the students, and they can reach whatever language they want to listen. And it's beautiful to be part of this creation. It's a lot of work into the background, and a lot of people are doing an hard work to make this possible, and to give the maximum opportunity to all people in this planet to understand the teaching. And I want to thank everybody for that.
Well, thank you, Jackie. And I don't see Francois here right now. Let me see, check the other list. But Francois Fleabot, he's the representative for the Keshe Foundation Canada French side, and he's sort of working on another aspect of the development of the French sector from this end. So it's interesting to see the relationship now with international French versus the Canadian French, and trying to bring those aspects together and so on. It's an interesting dance, you might say.
I think that Francois will soon share the recordings that he made in the past of his teachings. I'm waiting for this, that we can publish them on our education site, what is private teaching, and on our YouTube channel of Spaceship Institute, Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, so that the people can get access, those that were not participating at the time, and maybe they can find out something interesting from those teachings.
Right. The way I understand it is Francois has a new a new presentation, a new PowerPoint presentation every couple of weeks, basically, and he gives a public or semi-public presentation with people that are invited and so on, and yeah, maybe that'll become available and translated into languages and so on.
And at this point, Rick, I would like to encourage all other people in other languages, language-speaking communities, whatever they recorded in the past, Hungarian, Romanian, and any other language, if they can send the email to the educationspaceshipisinstitute.org, that we get these recordings and we can publish them as well, and then we can bring them under the umbrella of Keshe Foundation and actually offer them the same platform, so that we can enlarge our education community and actually give
There are people listening from every corner of this planet. No knowledge has been dispersed so beautifully, so balanced across the planet, of this planet ever, maybe in the universe. You have the full potential of achieving everything in the universe. There is no need and there is no reason for man not to achieve. So, wherever you are, the way I taught you to make the coils double coil inside, you have continuous equal gravitational magnetic field, and if you put CO2 on it, and you put zinc on it, you have connected the emotion of the man to it on a stable condition, and you'll find out you become a very peaceful man. Here, instead of having galaxies and universes and creating connection magnetically, we have used the matter state gravitational magnetic field strength to dominate and dictate the shape of the plasma. The nanotechnology, the nanomaterial which you have collectively developed in different ways, by caustic, by electric currents, by whatever, fire or whatever, has that advantage that the matter, the nano, and the plasma is all the same. So connection is very solid. It's very strong. The power of the plasma technology, the way we have thought, is beyond imagination of the man. Now you can create and control the plasma, which is the mother of the creation of the universe. You are given the seed of the essence of the creation. The foundation does not belong to no one and is not made of one anymore. You are developing it. You are structuring it. And from today, we will be still the same. We'll still develop the technology in different names, in different colors, in different nationalities which they do not exist. It is beautiful when we see the Christian, the Muslims, the Jews, and every other belief are working together to build up systems. We have already become one faith. We already have become one nation, and we already become one planet. You got to remember one thing. Dates is irrelevant. Today is the last day of the Christian calendar, or tomorrow is the beginning of another. One day is connected to another. We don't stop. We are working round the clock. The Keshe Foundation team is working irrespective of time, position, religion, country. And now we achieve what we set out for.
Welcome everyone to the 17th International Knowledge Seekers Workshop with the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And once again today we're honored to have with us Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation to carry on with the teaching for today on the international front. And I think he's available there. Are you ready to go, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, as usual. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you, wherever you are, whenever you listen to these programs. Today, as normal, is the international teaching. We ask you if you have anything to offer from international, some parts of the Keshe Foundation from anywhere. You might have something to show or demonstrate. Or if you have anything to show, Rick.
I don't have anything in particular. I can show a picture though that might be interesting for folks. We can show Abby's roses. Let me just get that shared up here. And my live stream adjusted. These are Abby's roses, and she states if you saw my lawn and rose bushes, the bushes are 6 feet tall, twice as tall as normal, and the flowers bloom months before the neighbor's roses. This is Portland, Oregon, is a rose city. The lawn grew like a jungle. I could not mow it with the rotary mower this month, but last month I mowed it in 20 minutes. This month it took me a week. I ended up cutting it with a sharpened Japanese scythe, a very sharp knife. She's using the Ganswater to, I believe, to grow her grass, but she says I did nothing to the roses other than hook up 5 plasma devices, 3 stackers and 2 cubes. I built 4 of them myself. This is Abby who talks about this. So I thought you might find that interesting on in that regard. And I'm wondering who else has something to offer in the Mr. Keshe here today for the international aspect. We have viewers. If you're a viewer and you have something to present, you can put up your hand, as it's called, and then I can see you and promote you to a panelist, and that way you can speak or show something. I wonder if, let me see, maybe Jackie would like to announce when his next session is with the French sector, French teaching. See, we have Clint here as well. Maybe he has something that he'd like to show.
Rick, we have Francois Flibot and Jackie both of them, maybe they could speak a little bit about, because they both started the French teachings, and I would like to hear how does it happen in both time zones, who's doing when, and so on.
Yes, perhaps. Thank you. This is Jackie. We start it's not Jackie or Francois, it's the Cash Foundation. We start the teaching for the French speaking. And we manage with Stanley all the setups for giving the teaching for the French community. And for the moment,
when we have this done, I believe it will be a big boost for a lot of students. Thank you.
I think if Paul Renner is on, they have already completed the German and Spanish. Am I correct? Or can he explain to us what's happening there?
You mean the websites?
The KF SSI.
Yes, I got the German translation and Spanish of KFSSI. I need to publish it.
Okay. Does Paul Renner want to explain anything? Is Paul Renner there?
Yes,
Hello?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear you. Can you explain more about what you've done in the German section, please? Because you've done a lot of work with a number of people in the background.
We have all the documents in translated to German, all the websites, and also to Spain. And I talked with Vince yesterday. So as soon as possible, we will have webmasters for Spanish and German. And the websites german.cashfoundation.org, german.kfsi.org will exist. Also Spanish. So as soon as possible, we will also start with a full-time German teaching at the same time that we have at the moment for the English speaking, because the German community is very, very big, nearly big as the English speaking community. But a lot of Germans are not able to follow the teachings in English, so we offered them a German teaching.
So the German teaching, which you are planning, will be with the German teachers and on a 5 days basis.
Right.
What's been asked from the webmaster to do, if it can be done, is that once you become a student in one section, you get access to all the other teachings, which means other languages. So if there is an interesting discussion or topic in another language which you want to listen or get translated, you can go across from one teaching language to another. This will be the same with Chinese. The Chinese teaching will be added to the Cash Foundation teaching that all the Chinese around the world can join in. It'll be done in the next few weeks. And so we see now the emergence of the different nationalities, what they call different national languages becoming mother language. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can join in and add to the knowledge, that the knowledge does not become language based as being now. Thank you very much for all your help and support in every direction.
Just something else, we also translate every manual, every document which was ever brought out by knowledge leakers or by the Cash Foundation itself. So when we start with the German, the Spanish website, there will be directly a lot of content. Also, we made translations to nearly every video, every knowledge seeker workshop, and we will hard working on to translate or subtitle all the private teachings you gave last year, Mr. Cash.
Thank you very much indeed. It's got to be said that there is a lot of work goes on in the background with the Germans, especially with you and Ingrid, and I thank both of you. And The cash, what do you call it? All the 3 books now are fully translated in German. And in next few weeks, I have to get a chance to correct the last wording to be as German's practically correct with everything. And we will publish these books only order to print, which means there will not be online books that could be abused. It was done before by people who put it deliberately to damage the foundation. It was the most beautiful thing ever done for the foundation, the way it was done.